Hey guys, my name is George Garcia, global Redken artist, and I'm so excited to be here with you today. First of all, big thanks to the Bulgarian team for inviting me. Huge honor to be here with you guys. Thank you, Redken, for always giving me the platform to share my voice. My name is George Garcia. I'm a global Redken artist. I've been a hairdresser, salon owner, and working behind the chair for going on over 30 years now, and a Redken artist for over 25 of those 30 years. I'm part of the Redken Power Network, which is a network of artists that are global. Some of the most talented and inspiring artists that I've ever worked with. We travel the world teaching hair colors, teaching hair color and design to hairdressers around the world, just to help make them that much better behind the chair. And I'm real excited to be here with you guys because I want to share some information with you. I'm going to be sharing with you a brand new color technique that I developed, some of my favorite Redken tools that I love to use to create, and then also I want this to be really interactive. So I want to have some questions from you guys. If there are any concerns, I want to make sure you get the information. But I want to share so much information, a lot of information in a very short period of time. So we're going to move really quickly. I'm going to share with you a technique called split lights. This is a technique that I developed that's a highlighting technique. It can be a creative color technique. It's great on textured hair. It's amazing for color correction. It's a very versatile technique that I developed. And the great part about it is you don't have to rethink, relearn, reevaluate anything that you know, because it's techniques that you're already doing behind the chair. Foil placements that we're used to doing. It's just using them in a different way to deliver those trend-driven effects that we're seeing on Instagram and online, and on the runways and in magazines, those trend-driven looks that we're seeing without all the challenges. And we're going to talk a little bit about those challenges in just a little bit. But yeah, and giving you, we all know time is money in the salon, and so it's very quick, very easy to learn, and very easy to utilize. So let's get started. You guys ready? All right, cool. So split lights. What is a split light? There's three things that I want you to get out of this program about split lights. First thing is, first of all, what is a split light? Secondly, how to do a split light. And then third, how to utilize it, where to place it, where's it best used on the head. So what I did was I have a mannequin hair for you, and I did it in 4 quadrants. And all 4 of the split lights are in these quadrants here. Let's start off with the first split light. First split light I want to talk to you about is a blended split light, and you can see in this quadrant here. First of all, would you not agree that that's a lot of blonde that we're seeing in there, right? Look at all that nice, beautiful, heavy distribution blonde. Look like we spent a lot of time foiling it. Guys, check this out. All this is a 1-inch section. That's all it is. 1-inch section. Look at that, all that brown in there, all that lightness, all that blonde coming from that 1-inch section. So it's strategically paced hair color for a high impact result. So this is our first split light I want to share with you here. Again, it's a 1-inch section here. You can see that just a quick 1-inch section that we're doing there. And you can see it's a beautiful heavy distribution of blonde, utilizing her natural color there. You can see that heavy distribution of blonde, but if you look really closely, you can see threads of color that are coming through there, that are coming all the way through the mid-lengths and the ends to soften that out. So what this is, blending split light is the softest split light that we do. Think about, when we're talking about a blended split light, think about a split light that's more like traditional balayage. Traditional balayage is kind of like, it just looks very natural, very sun-kissed. So this is the softest split light that I have, that I'm going to teach you, and it's utilized in many different ways. All these split lights are standalone also. You can use them to create many different looks by themselves, or you can incorporate them all together to get an overall look. And I'll show you, and we'll talk a little bit more about that. So that's your blended split light. On the other side here, we have what's called a disconnected split light. And if you take a look at that, you can see that it's disconnected from the scalp. But again, guys, 1-inch section, but heavy distribution of blonde. But look at that transition that's there. A beautiful, soft, melting transition. This is what we're looking for those, think about like a teasy light. That beautiful melting of color, but we're not having to deal with the challenges of a teasy light. Now, if you look at this back quadrant here, this is what we call a connected split light. And now that hair color is becoming a little more connected in certain areas, think about money pieces that are connected in the front and on the part. Think about the connection that's happening there. Very soft connection, not really strong connection, but a very, very soft connection. Still seeing a lot of our natural coming through, but you can see those threads of color that are literally connecting it, still allowing a lot of our natural color to come through, but threads of color that's connecting it, and then a heavy distribution of blonde. So these are the 3 split lights that I wanted to show you, but just give you a good idea of what they look like and how they're affecting. Also look at, by them just being a 1-inch section, look at all the depth that can come from within there. That's a key thing I want you to keep in mind when we're going to be talking about split lights. That heavy and strong texture that you see from a dark to light, those really, really strong contrast of depth within the interior and lightness on the exterior. So just to give you an idea of what split lights look like. Now, this is my first look here. We're going to show you this first look here. In through the back here, I'm going to show you this blended split light. Let me turn this around for you here. How many of you in the salon, whenever your clients are finished with their hair, they lean into the mirror and they pull their hair forward, they're like, what's with this dark stuff here, George? Why is this so darker here? In the chat box, if that's happened, you put that in the chat box, that's me. Yeah, right? They're like, what about this hair right here? And we know we need that depth that's there. We need that darkness there for contrast. We need that contrast. The depth is, in order to have contrast, you need dark and light. You just can't just have light. You need dark and light. And so that dark is needed, but they do see too much contrast. They see dark and then all this lightness. So to add a little bit of lightness into there, a blended split light is perfect for that. So when she pulls her hair forward, you still see that depth that's in there, but you still, now you see those threads of color that are softening out that, so it doesn't look like stripes of color in that really dark area there. So that's our blended split light, and that works really good within the interior of the hair. Then I want you to look at this here. I'm going to take this top part out here. It looks like a lot of blonde, right? Look, all it is just this top area here that's connected. If you look at this interior here, you can see that, if you look at that interior all the way through there, you can see that disconnected. So whenever those lighter bits of color land on top, this is going to be a background here for that contrast. Think about that contrast. But look at the melting that's happening there. Look at that, just like you get from a teasy light, but very quick and very easy. And look at how light we've gotten with that color. How would you like for all of your clients, even those darker levels, to get that light? Well, I'm going to show you how split light is going to allow you to achieve that. Now let's look at this front part here. Let's look at this money piece. I want you to take a look at this money piece here. Look at how strong that blonde is, almost a solid blonde there. But then just look at the base here. You can see that those threads of color are connecting, but still allowing some of our natural to come through here. This type of money piece will grow out so much softer than getting all that blonde straight to the scalp. This is going to grow out so much softer and look so much more, a little bit more blended in that area. But you're still seeing a little bit of disconnection with your natural color coming through there. So it's not such a hard grow out. And then if you look at the part line here, on the part line, we have a couple of connected split lights. So you can see those threads of color that are connecting, but still allowing a lot of our natural color to come through. So it still looks very lived in and very comfortable. So this is our mannequin. So the other, what we're going to do is I'm going to demo this for you guys, and I'm going to demo it on the other side to show you exactly what we did and how we section it off. So you're going to see right now one of our section mannequin, one of our head forms is going to come up for you right now. And you can see here that all those diagonal lines, all of these split lights have been put on a diagonal. And the reason we put them on a diagonal is because we want them to be ultra soft. We all know that we can do them on a horizontal and we can get a heavy distribution, but for this look, I want it to be ultra soft. So what I chose to do is do everything on a diagonal. If you want your hair color to be soft, work on a diagonal. So I'm just going to take the back, the nape area here, and I'm just going to do one split light. The mannequin, the one I just showed you right here, it was only one split light that was done, blended split light that was done in through the nape area there. So I'm just going to section this off. You can see at the base of the nape there, base of the back, and it exposes our nape here. So I'm going to put my gloves on here. So get my gloves on, and now we're going to take diagonal sections. I'm going to be using Flash Lift Bonder Inside, which is my favorite lightener. Reason being is because I do a lot of blonding in California. I work in California and also work in New York. My salon that I own is in California. We do a lot of blonding and blonding over blonding. Very, how do you say it? Very aggressive type of blonding that we do in California. And so what we want to make sure is that the hair is in optimum condition. Yes, we can go and take them to these ultralight blondes, but we want to make sure that the hair is in optimum condition. So with Flash Lift Bonder Inside reinforces those bonds, so that when we're doing those heavy lightning, those blondes that we're taking really light, the hair is in optimum condition when we're done. So Flash Lift Bonder Inside. What I'm using here is 30 volume just to get some maximum lift, so that we can get these higher levels of lift. Now, look at that 1-inch section. Think about this. If we were to take that 1-inch section and we were to balayage that, in my experience, whenever I do balayage, the thicker my sections, the harder it is for them to lift. So my client comes in and I go through and I start doing this balayage technique, and what happens is they're very, a lot of them, especially with the ones with the darker levels, they get let down because we can't get all their lightness in the first try or the first service. So for me, it's all about getting that lightness the very first time. So split lights, where did the name split lights come from? If you think about it, what we're doing is, like I said, we're taking that 1-inch section that's right there, but if I were to go through and take that 1-inch section and I were to split it down into thinner, finer sections, I still have the same amount of hair there. But if I split it up into 3 fine sections, it's going to lift faster and it's going to lift higher. So split lights is all about splitting the hair off so we get maximum amount of lift. So I'm going to split that off. How I'm going to get split it off is I'm going to take, each split light has 3 areas. You have your lower, middle, and your top area. So we're subdividing it into 3 sections. The lower one is called the lower threads. The middle is called the core, and this top one is called the upper threads. What we're doing is we're taking that solid sections and we're pulling threads out from within the section. The key to a split light are the threads. So we're pulling them threads out, and then they go right back. Once we've colored them, they go right back into your section. They go into the section because we pull them out, not just on the surface. They're literally being pulled out from the section so that when they go back in, they help either blend in or soften a transition, or they help blend in the section. So the key to a split light are the threads and what you do with them. So because we're going to be utilizing the naturalness of these threads, I'm going to take this, and every time you do a split light, whenever you do a split light, you hold it up at 90 degrees vertical, and you go within the section and pull through those threads of color. And you can see when I split this off, you can see that it's not just getting on the surface, they're actually going within the section. So I'm going to take my first threads out. Those threads I'm going to take this upper part of this section here, I'm going to isolate that. So these are going to go away. Notice that I've already set up my workspace here. My workspace is set up, so I'm hands-free. I don't have to hold the foil, I have to put it in. And I just use 2 clips to hold it on. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to color these threads. For a blended split light, remember, we need those threads, the naturalness of those threads, to create our blend. Remember, those natural threads are going to go back in and soften all the way from scalp to end. So now I'm going to hold this out at horizontal 90. I did vertical 90, now I'm doing horizontal 90. I'm going within that section, and now what looked like a huge section, see that? It's going right into that section, not just on the surface, but within it, within that section. So I'm going to take my upper threads, I'm going to pull those out of the way, and then I'm going to take my core section, this is my core, and now I'm going to lightness. Now all I have to do is figure out where I want that lightness to start. Do I want it more mid-shaft to ends? Do I want it more closer to the scalp? For this, I'm just going to do it mid-shaft to ends because I want all that depth to be there. And however you soften out your balayage, whether it be vertical brushing like I'm doing here, whether it be with a blur brush or an edging brush, however you do it, whether you take a brush and do back brushing, take your brush and back brush just like that. However you decide to do that is completely up to you, but you want to make sure that you're softening out that area transition. So I'm just going to take that next foil, I'm going to lay that right over the top of it. These threads that I have here are just going to come right on top of that, and then I am going to isolate that. So now that whole split light is now complete. So I'm just going to take my corners, I'm going to fold those in so that they're nice and secure. I'm going to take this little clip off of this one here. I'm going to fold those corners in there. And now I'm going to move on to my next foil. So this is my blended split light within the interior. Now I'm going to go to, and I would continue that all the way through till I reach the top part here, just to get a nice blended feel throughout. Now I'm going to go to the side part here. I'm going to go to this side. Everyone can see this here. If you can see that, put a yes in the chat box. Okay, good. Everyone's on the same page. Nice. All right, good. So I'm just going to take the top out of the way. So we're going to take that top, because up there we're going to do our connected split light. So this is going to go away here. Now I'm going to work on the side here. And in through the side here, I'm also going to do a diagonal parting. So I'm going to do one diagonal back, so that when this hair comes forward, I get the heaviest distribution of color that will live in that area. Now, I could take that 1-inch section along the hairline, and remember those threads that I pulled out from the interior, those threads can live along the hairline. If you're not looking for color to live along the hairline, drop the hairline out and then just go 1 inch back from there. So there's my 1-inch section here. Just gonna take that 1-inch section and I'm gonna isolate that. The rest of the hair is gonna go out of my way. But just think of how much time I'm saving, guys. How much time I'm saving with the amount of hair that I'm taking. Huge sections here, but getting that maximum lift because I'm breaking it down. I'm breaking that section down. I'm splitting that section up into 3 finer sections. So again, first step, set up my workspace. So I'm going to take a foil here. I'm going to set that right along the hairline here. And then I am going to isolate. I'm going to attach that with our clip. My clip, and I'm gonna go just like this inside here. Okay, good. So now I'm hands-free, so I can take my section. Now remember, holding it up vertically, vertical straight up at a 90-degree angle, and going within, taking threads of color, not cords of color, George. Taking threads of color, because I want that to those threads of color to be nice and soft. I don't want it to look streaky. Sometimes I may do that though, like when I'm working with a creative color technique, I may want to use cords of color, not threads of color. So, but for this technique here, for our highlighting technique, I just want to make sure that we have those beautiful threads to blend. Now, think about this. Think about a teasy light, guys. Think about a teasy light. What do we do with a teasy light? Well, we figure out where we want the area transition, and then we tease the hair back. We put our product on, and then what happens, those threads come right back over the top of that area transition, and they literally melt that with the darker hair, melt that area transition. So keep that in mind. What I need to do at this point is I need to decide where I want my area transition. So for this technique, I'm going to do it right around mid-shaft. So what I'm going to do as a visual, I'm going to put my clip there, and that's going to tell me where I want my transition to start with for this split light. I'm going to take my section, I'm going to apply my first color here. So I'm going to apply my color below that where I want the area transition. Think about those threads of color that we use for a teasy light. We push them back and then they retract back down. So those threads of color, the hair that gets retracted gets pushed back and it softens out that area of transition. So we need those hairs there to be darker for that blend and that melt to happen. So I'm going to soften out that, whether it be, again, with a back brush, whether it be with a vertical brush, however you decide to soften that out, you soften it out that way. Now, we have this is going to be our area transition here. Our color is only here. So I'm going to take my next foil, I'm going to isolate what I just colored. And now I'm going to go and take out my threads on my upper part of my section now. So I'm going to go through and hold that out horizontally. I'm going to pull out those threads of color, and then I'm going to pull those and isolate those threads up and above my section. So now I have my core section here, but look at how much easier it's going to be for me to lift that. That really thick section is not going to be an issue anymore. So now, where did I decide to make my area transition? Oh, there's that clip. That'll tell me exactly where my area transition needs to be. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to apply color directly at where that clip lives, just right there. Remember, we didn't go any higher than that clip with our threads. So those the darker threads are going to go right over the top of this area transition, again, to help with that softening of that transition area. I'm just going to take this and fold this right back up, just like this. So I'm just going to soften that area transition with a vertical brush, just taking a light pressure and just getting a very, very beautiful soft transition in that area. So if you think about that, just think about this, guys. Once I'm done with these this section here, that's where my transition, I started coloring those threads down there. I'm going to take this section now, my threads, and I'm doing the exact same thing that I did with my lower threads. Remember, here's my area transition. I need these threads to be dark in that area, so I'm only going to color down here. So think about that, guys. What I've done with that whole section, first of all, I split it down into 3 different areas. And so it's going to lift faster and it's going to lift higher, so I don't have to worry about that. And because I now have those dark hairs, think about this. If you think about that, everything within that 1-inch section from this point all the way through is colored solid. That's where we have that real heavy solidness up to the blonde. In that area transition, I have dark threads on top and dark threads on the under part that have been pulled out and that are now going to go back in and help soften out that area transition. So I need that area to be dark. What that's done is it's eliminated the teasing portion of a teasy light. And I don't know about you guys, but in my salon, one of the things that I really have a challenge with is going back to the shampoo well and trying to take that teasing out. That drives me crazy and it drives my clients crazy. And I don't know about you guys, whenever you're doing lifting, especially if it's high lifting, the last thing you want to be doing to hair that's been lifted is tugging, ripping, and pulling on it. That's the last thing you want to do when it comes to that type of hair. It's in the most fragile state, and the last thing you want to be doing is tugging and ripping at that. So this is my last section here. I'm just going to do one horizontal section here. So I'm going to take a 1-inch section right off the top, and it's okay to leave. You can see that the corner here, corner there. You need these pieces of color for contrast. So don't worry if there's color on the bottom of your split light and color on top of it. It's okay. We need that color in order to create the contrast that we're looking for, that high contrast type of look. So I'm just going to take my 1-inch section here. The rest of the hair is going to go out of the way. I'm going to take that hair out of the way there. I'm going to take my 1-inch section here. And again, I'm going to hold that up at 90 degrees vertical. I'm going to start pulling through those threads of color. Again, being really careful that they're threads of color, not cords of color. And then I'm going to pull that down. Okay, so this is going to go out of the way here. What did you forget, George? What did you forget? You forgot to set up your workspace. Yeah, so take that foil first before you even start taking threads out. Take that foil first and set that in there so your hand's free. Guys, look how quickly we're moving along here. It's crazy how in my salon, it's like I can do a whole head of split lights in half the time that it would take me to do a regular and traditional type of foiling technique. So here I'm going in and I'm going to do a connected split light. Now, disconnected was allowing the dark to come through at the base, and then a blended area, and then solid blonde on the ends. Here we're going to have that same solidness to the blonde, but instead of those threads softening, these threads are now going to connect. So these threads are going to get colored all the way from scalp to ends. So you see that I started off applying and saturating mid-lengths and ends, and now I'm just starting to work that color up towards the scalp, not going right in with a lot of color. I'm just softly blending in those threads of color so that the transition is soft. It's connected, but it's still soft at the base. So there's my first foil there. I'm going to isolate that foil there, and look, I'm going right up to where those threads were pulled out. I'm going to take my 1-inch section here. Now I'm going to go right over the top of this, hold it out at 90 degrees horizontal. I'm actually grabbing some of the hair. Do you see that? How I grab some of the hair? That means that I'm going deep enough into my section so that I have that, so that when it goes back in, it goes back into the section as opposed to just sitting on the surface. So by me grabbing those or grabbing some of those hairs from within my first set of threads, that's a good thing. So now, this is my core section, so I'm going to take my core section and I need to figure out how close I want this transition to be. So I'm just going to keep it right about the round of the head, so I'm not going to go too close. Like I did on that money piece that you saw up here, I took that really, really close. But for the side here, I'm just going to take that and I'm going to go just right about the round of the head. I'm not going to go any higher than the round of the head. I still want a lot of our natural to come through, but I want a lot of our natural to come through, but I still want it connected. So I'm just going to apply here, and then I'm going to vertical brush right about the round of the head. So I have, again, that beautiful soft transition that happens there. So now I'm going to take my foil here, and again, going right up to where those threads are. I'll hold that up so I can go take that foil right up to where those threads start, so that when I pull this down, I can get as close as I want to the scalp from that foil. And again, applying this, these are my connected threads, so they're going to connect all the way through to the scalp area. So I'm applying and saturating all the way through. So those threads there are going to connect. And again, softly attaching, softly connecting, not adding a lot of color there, so when it grows out it looks hard. I'm just going through and adding enough color to where it's connecting, but still looks beautiful and soft. So this, I'm just going to add that foil there. I'm going to isolate, I'm going to connect, I'm going to take that corner and fold that in so it attaches and secures it. Take out my clips that are there. And now that's attached. So now we have our blended split light in the back where we use the threads to blend. We have our disconnected split light where we use the threads to soften out the area transition but allow a lot of the natural to come through. And then we have our connected split light where we're utilizing the threads to connect, but yet our area transition is still allowing a lot of the natural to come through. So like I told you guys before, split lights is not just a highlighting technique, it's also works great for textured hair. So if you take a look at this mannequin here, this is a standalone blended split light. So you can see that there's lots of blonde coming through, but yet a lot of our naturals coming through also. If I were to just put foils through here, I would see patches of color. If you've had that happen with textured hair, put a yes in the chat box. Yeah, see? I'm not the only one. So yeah, but just a beautiful blend of her natural color coming through, but yet still seeing a lot of natural blonde, and mostly around the face and just enough in through the back here just to kind of help support what's happening in through the front part there. So works great with works great on textured hair. Again, trend wise, looking at here, this is just two split lights, two connected split lights. Two on this side, one on this side. So you can see more of an asymmetrical feel, but yet beautiful, very natural. But you can see those threads of color connecting into a really, really strong piece of blonde. So just giving a really asymmetrical feel to a very textured type of look. So it works great on curly and wavy hair. Again, I told you guys a little bit about working with color treated, working with creative color also. You can see this is a connected split light, so these threads are connecting utilizing color gels lacquers. So this is 6R in 30 volume, so a beautiful 6R base. The core, so think about a connected split light, the core is our 6R, and then our threads at the base is also 6R, but then we melt in high fusion orange and high fusion yellow. So you have a beautiful blend of yellow and orange on the top of a beautiful 6R base with 30 volume. So color gels lacquers, and also utilizing color gels lacquers and also using high fusion. Okay, and then this is our fully done mannequin here. You can see that the blended split lights are only on the mid shaft back here. You can see that again disconnected through the interior there, and then here a little bit more of our natural coming through. So just another version of our split lights where we're utilizing all three of the split lights. Guys, also works amazing on short hair. So working this is a shape that Samia did for me, and all it is two connected split lights on the top here on the part, just to add a whole lot of blonde. Again, asymmetrical, leaving more depth on one side than the other. Utilizing flash slip bonder inside and our new VGs, our violet gold shades EQ, to get a beautiful finish on an amazing shape. So many different ways to utilize split lights, and many different ways. So just so you guys know, I was going to show you when we do, like when we take it down, when we're taking it down in the salon. In the salon at this point, once I've gotten the blonde that I'm looking for, at the shampoo well, now's the time to start ripping through the hair. And like I told you guys before, we don't want to rip through the hair when it's in such a fragile state. So I'm going to show you how easily these things remove, and how quick and easy and how much time that's going to save us in the salon. So remember, blended split light. So blended split light is going to use the natural hair. So I just want you to take a look here and look at the blended split light. You can see that where the color is, that's where it's going to be the blondest. And you can see that it's lifting, and then you also see the brown hairs that are coming through there. And all you do is comb through it, and now she's ready to rinse. So how quick and easy is that to take out? For me, it beats a lot of taking out the tangles. And so that's how we take out a blended split light. And I want you guys to see here also how we remove the disconnected split light. So remember, we have an area transition and dark threads over it, but everything is blonde from those ends out. So all we do is slide that out. And I want you guys to see here, can you see those dark threads over the top of that lightened area? You can already see it starting to lighten up. Look at everything is solid blonde on the ends there. Really, really solid blonde. But if you take your comb, all I do is go like this, and look how those dark pieces go right into it to help give that beautiful melting. No more teasing, guys, no more teasing. And then I'm gonna take this connected split light here out here. So I'm just gonna slide that out. You can see that, look at all those beautiful threads of color that are in through the top there. Just beautiful threads of color connecting around the face, and then it melts right into a really solid, huge piece of blonde that's gonna live from mid-shaft, from the round of the head all the way throughout. So guys, quick, easy technique, getting the maximum amount of lift by splitting down your section. Very versatile on how it's done. Yeah, I'm so excited. It's helped me tremendously in the salon. Less time working on my clients, taking away a lot of the problems. A lot of my clients coming in that want those lighter levels, because we can break the hair down into those fine sections. It's easy to get those maximum amounts of lift in a very short period of time. Just to recap, you guys, remember those 1-inch sections breaking down into threads, lower threads, upper threads, and your core section. The threads are key to softening out not only the whole section, but also your areas of transition, and also to connect for a connected split light. 90 degrees, remember, hold it up at 90 degrees, and you're going to take those threads of color out from the interior, taking it out from the interior and on the lower portion, holding it out at 90 degrees horizontal, taking them out for the top, and then utilizing the core. How you'd use your threads is completely up to you to get what you're looking for. Where to use them? Remember, blended split light these are standalone also, so you can do connected split light to get a traditional highlight. You can use a blended split light to get what you normally get from a traditional highlight of traditional balayage, or you can use a disconnected, get you more of an ombre feel, a very lived-in, comfortable feel. Whew, guys, a lot of information, right? A lot of information. Guys, you guys have been amazing. You guys have been an amazing audience, and I want to thank you guys. You know, it's been a huge honor to be invited by the Bulgarian team to be here with you guys, and it's a huge honor for that. Always Redken giving me my platform to share my voice, share my passion and what I love. And I want to thank you guys for being so opening your minds and your hearts and your spirits to whatever I had to share. Guys, this journey doesn't end here. Follow me on Instagram. If you ever have any questions about corrective hair color, about any type of hair color, feel free to hit me up, and I promise you I'll try to get back to you as soon as possible with those answers. Take advantage of my 30 years as a hairdresser, behind the chair as a salon owner, and my 25 years as an advanced educator. Guys, don't ever forget, Redken is here for you guys. Redken is always here for you guys to give you the tools, give you the knowledge and the formula to success. They've been here for me. They helped me in my career as a hairdresser and as a salon owner, and now I can in turn help other people. Remember, all Redken wants for you is for you to learn better. So if you learn better and gather the knowledge and hold it on, and then you go back to your salon, you learn it, and then you put it to use, it'll make you more money. I promise you. It'll make you more money, and therefore you can live your best life. We can all live our best life. Guys, again, thank you for being with me. Thank you for hanging out with me. Bulgaria, thank you for having me here. Thank you for the Bulgarian team. Thank you to all my Power Network out there. Thank you, Redken, for having me here once again. And I'll see you guys on the next time. Take care of yourself. Be good, be well, and God bless you. I'll see you next time. Peace.